Hello everyone, how are you? Now we are going to continue our lesson with our second video. And somebody wants to say hi again.
Hi.
She says she misses you, and I promised her that I will bring her to you when the schools are opened, okay?
Okay.
Okullar açılınca götüreceğim seni.
Tamam.
Tamam mı? Görüşürsünüz gene. Hadi bye bye de.
Bye bye.
Okay. Now we are going to continue our lesson. Now, where were we? I think we have just finished the underground cities of Derinkuyu and Kaymaklı. Now, I want to talk about the ancient history of Cappadocia. Okay? Cappadocia has an enduring history dating back thousands of years. Neolithic pottery and tools found in Cappadocia attest to an early human presence in the region. Excavations at the modern town of Kültepe have uncovered the remains of the Hittite city of Kanesh, dating from the 3rd millennium BC. The tens of thousands of clay tablets recovered from the remains of an Assyrian merchant colony at Kanesh are among the oldest written documents ever discovered in Turkey. Göreme was inhabited as early as the Hittite era, which is 1800 to 1200 BC, and later sat uncomfortably on the boundary between rival empires. First the Greeks and Persians, and later the Byzantine Greeks and a host of rivals. This precarious political position meant that residents needed hiding places and found them by tunneling into the rock itself. The site became a religious refuge during the early days of Christianity. By the 4th century AD, Christians fleeing Rome's persecution had arrived in some numbers and established monastic communities here. The Byzantine Christian monks excavated hundreds of dwellings and monasteries, each beautifully painted and decorated, beginning in the 7th century, which endure in well-preserved isolation to this day. In a spectacular landscape, dramatically demonstrating the creativity of its inhabitants, Cappadocia provides a globally renowned and accessible display of landforms and man-made features, which are of great beauty and which interact with the cultural elements of the landscape. Now, let's talk about Göreme Open Air Museum. Göreme Açık Hava Müzesi'den bahsedelim. The Göreme Open Air Museum resembles a vast monastic complex composed of scores of refectory monasteries placed side by side, each with its own fantastic church. Bir sürü kiliseler yan yana arkadaşlar, yan yana bir sürü kiliseler var. Böyle bir kiliseler grubu mevcut burada. Çok enteresan. It's obviously the first site to be visited in Cappadocia by any traveler, standing as it does in the very center of the region, with easy access from all directions. It's only 15 minutes walk from Göreme village center, and it contains the finest of the rock-cut churches. Kayaya oyulmuş kiliseler içerisindeki en güzel örnekler bu mekanda arkadaşlar. With beautiful frescoes. Ne demekti fresko hatırlayın? Evet, hatırlamadınız değil mi Stigide? Evet, duvar resimleri. Whose colors still retain all their original freshness. It also presents unique examples of rock-hewn architecture and fresco technique. The Göreme Open Air Museum has been a member of UNESCO World Heritage List since 1984 and was one of the first 2 UNESCO sites in Turkey. The area covered by this open-air museum forms a coherent geographical entity and represent historical unity. There are 11 refectories within the museum with rock-cut church stables and benches. Yani kayalar ve oturma yerleri falan hep taşlara oyulmuş vaziyette. Her şey taştan oyulmuş bu kiliselerin içinde. Each is associated with a church. Most of the churches in Göreme Open Air Museum belong to the 10th, 11th and 12th centuries. In summer, it is better to visit the museum early in the morning or late in the afternoon instead of midday because it's very hot. And there are many churches and chapels in Göreme Open Air Museum, but the most important ones are the Nunnery, St. Barbara Church, Apple Church, Elmalı Kilisesi, Snake Yılanlı Church, Dark Church, Karanlık Kilise, Çarıklı, Sandals Church, Buckle yani Tokalı Church, and that's it. Now let's talk about them. The first one is the Nunnery Church, okay? The 6th and 7th story rock mess to the left of the museum entrance is known as the Nunnery. The dining hall, kitchen, and some rooms on the first floor, together with the ruined chapel on the second level, can still be visited. The church on the 3rd story, which can be reached through a tunnel, has the cruciform plan. Yani haç şeklinde yapılmış arkadaşlar burası. A dome with four columns and 3 apses. Yani 4 sütunlu bir kubbe ve 3 tane de yarım kubbeden oluşuyor. The templon on the main apse is rarely found in Göremes churches. Besides the fresco of Jesus, painted directly onto the rock, designs painted in red can also be seen. The different levels of the monastery are connected by tunnels and millstone doors, such as those found in the underground cities. Millstone doors dediği arkadaşlar yuvarlak, tıpkı bu buğdayları ezmekte kullanılan yuvarlak taşlar olur ya hani değirmenlerde. Ona millstone deniyor. Bunları dik koyup yuvarlıyorsunuz. Bu şekilde kapılar açılıp kapanıyor. Yani bir tünelin ağzını kapatmak için kullanılabiliyor bunlar. Millstone doors deniyor bunlara. Such as those found in the underground cities, and they were used to close off these tunnels in times of danger. St. Barbara Church. Let's talk about St. Barbara Church. This church is situated behind the rock housing Elmalı Apple Church. Demin de demiştim yan yana arka arkaya. Bu da tam Elmalı Kilisesi'nin Apple Church'un arkasında yapılmış bu kilisede. It has a cruciform plan. Bunun da aynı şekilde haç şeklinde bir planı var. Cruciform deniyor buna. Cruciform plan with 2 columns. The north, south, and west arms of the cruciform are barrel vaulted, and the center, the east arm, and the east corners are domed. There are a main central apse and 2 side apses. Motifs were painted in red directly onto the rock. Bu kiliselerdeki duvar resimleri direkt olarak kayaların üstüne yapılmış arkadaşlar. Evet. The walls and the dome are decorated in a variety of motifs, including geometrical patterns, mythological animals, and military symbols. The walls also have motifs resembling stonework. This church dates back to the second half of the 11th century. Now let's talk about Elmalı Kilisesi, Apple Church, okay? One of the most prominent buildings in the area, with its vivid colors. The church is a groin vaulted structure with cross in square plan, having 4 columns and a central dome. It has beautiful frescoes dating to the 11th and 12th centuries. And where these have fallen off, you can see simple red painted ornaments from the iconoclastic period. The frescoes are narrating scenes from the Bible and the life of Christ, the hospitality of Abraham, and 3 Hebrew youths. The building derives its name from the apple orchard collapsed a long time ago in front of the main entrance. And now let's talk about Yılanlı Kilisesi, Snake Church, okay? This church has a linear plan consisting of two chambers. The front section is barrel vaulted, while the back one has a flat ceiling. The red ochre ornaments imitate hewn stone plate. Frescoes dated to the 11th century are painted directly on the wall. Opposite the entrance, there is an image of Christ with a book in his hand, and on his left, on both sides of a large cross, are Emperor Constantine and Helena. Right next to it, the killing of the snake by St. George and St. Theodore is depicted. On the opposite wall, Onofrios can be seen with a sapling in front of him, also the Apostle Thomas, and the founder of the building, St. Basilios, holding a book in one hand and sanctifying with the other. Okay, now it's time to talk about Karanlık Kilise, Dark Church. The entrance of this church is from the north, through a winding tunnel, which opens into a barrel-vaulted narthex. You have to pay an extra admission fee, but it's surely worth it. In the south of the narthex, there are 3 graves, 2 of which are big and the other small. The church has a cross plan, the arms of the cross having a diagonal vault. The templon of the main apse has been destroyed. This church dates to the end of the 12th century. Some of the scenes on the walls are these: Annunciation, Journey to Bethlehem, Nativity, Baptism, Raising of Lazarus, Transfiguration, Entry into Jerusalem, Last Supper, Betrayal of Judas, the Crucifixion, and Anastasis. Well, now it's time to talk about Çarıklı Church, Sandals Church, okay? This 2-column church, and there are 2 other columns, they are in the form of pillars, okay? It's cross-vaulted and has 3 apses and 4 domes. It's the big one, big church. The well-preserved frescoes show the life of Jesus, the hospitality of Abraham, and images of the saints and the donors of the church. Although it resembles both the Karanlık, dark, and Elmalı, apple churches, the scenes of the Way of the Cross and the descent from the cross make this church different from the others. The figures are generally large. The footprints under the Ascension scene give the church its name, which means with sandal. The church dates back to the end of the 12th and the beginning of the 13th centuries. The center dome houses a picture of Jesus with the births of angels in the insets. On the central apse is this. On the north apse, Mary and the baby Jesus, and on the south apse, a picture of Saint Michael. And our last church is Tokalı Kilisesi, Buckle Church. Okay? Even though Tokalı Church is located down the museum, you can visit the church with the same ticket you used for Görem Open Air Museum. It's a little bit away from the others. It's a complex made up of 4 main chambers. The entrance to the new church, having a rectangular plan, and this rock settlement is divided with arches into 3 sections. Containing the most important samples of paintings, the building has been decorated in various periods. In the old church section, frescoes dated to the early 10th century, painted in bands of rich red and green, represent scenes from the Bible. The indigo dominating the main chamber frescoes in the new church It is a feature discerning the structure from the others. Among the rock churches in Cappadocia, Tokala has the best paintings, narrating the life of Christ in the most detail. The church is decorated with the infancy, means childhood of Christ, ministry and passion cycles, and with several episodes from the life of Saint Basilius. Okay, this is the end of our second video, second lesson. I'll see you in the third video, okay? Bye-bye, see you, bye.